It's time for the one and only, the premier, the only official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Your suit bosses are ready, so let's give it a go and talk some rodeo.
We're back here for another episode of The Shoot Bosses. We got a good one coming your way. We're going to sit down and chat with Tuf Cooper. He's a great interview as always, Tracy. Can't wait to chat with Tuf. And a couple other great things coming your way. We're also going to sit down with Zeke Thurston. He'll be our 8 question segment. So a lot of great things coming our way here. And Tracy, we're already 6 episodes into this thing.
Yeah, I know. We wanted to do this for so long, and now it's just going by. It's flying by. It's crazy. But we've had a lot of great guests, and hopefully people are enjoying the show.
Yeah, we've had a lot of downloads, so we appreciate all you guys tuning in, whether that's on YouTube or one of the many podcast platforms out there. So we really appreciate it. Hopefully this keeps growing. We can get even bigger guests on here for you. As we kick off the show, we're going to start it off with, as we always do, our ProRodeo Props. And Tracy, this one could have went a lot of different ways, and we'll probably mention some other guys as well. But we're going to start it off with Mason Clements, because what he did at the Cinch Playoffs Governor's Cup in Sioux Falls just last week, or a week and a half ago at this point, was remarkable. He came in 19th in the world standings, climbed all the way up to well inside the top 15. He wins it, $25,000 purse. Mason Clements deserves a big shout out.
Yeah, I mean, and he had to do well. Like, he had no choice. I mean,
yeah.
it wasn't like he could show up and hopefully things fell his way. Like, he had, I believe we calculated he had to be in the top 3 at the worst to even have a realistic chance to get in the 15. And Mason's a great guy. He's a good friend of Casey Field. He's a Utah Cowboy. He's rodeoed. He's been at the NFR. This will now be his 3rd time, but he hadn't been since 2020. He'd fought some injuries and did some things, and I'd spoke to him. He's gotten himself in great shape.
He does.
And he seems, just a little side note, what inspired him to get in better shape is taking cold showers every day, like ice cold showers. And he's like, it gets the nerve system going. I'm like, man, I don't know about the ice cold showers. He suggested I do that, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take a hard pass. But Mason did a phenomenal there. He needed to do, like I said, possibly 3rd. He wins it all, and it was emotional when you interviewed him.
He was, definitely thinking back to what this year's been like for him and his family. So congrats to Mason. A couple other guys we want to shout out. Team ropers like Clay Smith gets in. On the other side of things, Jacob Lees has to battle back in his event as well to get where they are, and that just proved that all of our Cowboys went there, whether they were trying to get money to get back in the world title race, or Tracy, they were just trying to make the NFR. Our Cowboys deserve a lot of props, because they went to battle in Sioux Falls, and it was a great watch, and it made great television.
Yeah, and it's a long season. I mean, it's the grind. It comes down to the last weekend, and guys like Lee's had to do well to get in. And I mean, but that's what the Cinch Playoffs were made for. That you want to give those guys that one last chance on the last day of the season or the day before, if you happen to solve it then, to get into the NFR. I mean, that's what those guys rodeo for. They rodeo for 2 reasons: A, to get to the NFR; B, to win a gold buckle.
No doubt. And congrats to all of our athletes. We said that top 15 still shaking its way out. Should have that by 2nd or 3rd weekend of October. Into our short round now, the Wrangler NFR stock reveal. We just announced this here last week on the PRCA site. And Tracy, a lot of good stock being listed, and every year you look through there and you're just like, man, I just see the big scores happening. And how about our boy Chiseled? He's in the mix. Another opportunity there. Him and Stetson matched up pretty good a couple years ago.
Yeah, Chiseled, he's a great bull. He's fantastic. He knows how to buck. He might get NFR Bull of the Year again. He's been before, and the thing about some of those great stock is they don't go a lot during the season. They go enough to qualify. So they're fresh when they get to the NFR, which makes them even more potent. So it's great to see a bull like Chiseled. The fans will love him, and if guys can stay on him, they're going to be in the money.
And then you also have, the Stock of the Year candidates, guys like, horses like the Black Tie, Explosive Skies. Calgary, I think, bringing over 20 stock to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. That's just kind of a standout for them. It just shows how good their bucking stock is, on the horse side of things in pro rodeo.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Wild Cherry. I mean, you go down to Explosive Skies. I mean, it's just, they've had so much great scores and rough stock and saddle bronc, and it's just been incredible. And I don't know what they do in the water up there, because we met one of the guys from Calgary Stampede in Puyallup, one of the guys that helps run the show up there, but their horses buck. I mean, it's people say, well, it's Calgary Stampede, but they buck.
The Born to Buck program.
And the Cowboys love to get on them, and they win money when they get on those horses probably, I would say 70-80% of the time at the NFR, especially their top horses.
Yeah, if you want to see that full list of stock that was selected for the 2023 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, you can visit our website on ProRodeo.com. Another thing on the list for the short round, Tracy, we just started it earlier this week. The Chase for the Championship Series presented by Choctaw Casino and Resorts. And that's a really cool segment. You know, it's about, I would say, a minute to 2 minute videos where they sit down with cowboys that are headed to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and just, you know, kind of chat them up and talk a little bit about life outside of the arena and what it took to get to where they are. The first one's already up. It was Dawson Hay. It was a great segment. He talked about his new family, and those are really cool segments.
Yeah, I mean, you just get to, they kind of lift up the curtain, so to speak. You kind of get to see behind the curtain and what these guys are really like when they're not in the rodeo arena, and you want to see that they're human, and it gives you another reason to say, hey, I do the things that this guy does, or we both have a Dodge truck, or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
more fans.
Just more fans that have more appeal to certain cowboys, and it's great for us, and it's great that Choctaws come on board for that.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll have plenty more coming your way, and you can check with those. They'll be on the PRCA YouTube page as well as ProRodeo.com. Many more of those coming your way, and that kind of leads us into our next segment. We won't get there quite yet, but we got 8 questions with coming up, Tracy, and this one's going to be a good one. 3-time PRCA World Champion Saddle Bronc rider Zeke Thurston. It's only 8 questions. We can't dive too deep, but Zeke's just one of those great guys in rodeo. You know, he has really transformed himself by being a stud at the NFR. Yeah. You know, finding a way to win his world titles by performing 10 nights in Vegas, and he's got a great personality. Dude's just a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, I mean, he's just I don't even say goofy. He's just a cool guy to be around. He's just straightforward, and he won the 3 championships, obviously, last year. But he was part of a specialty act growing up, and his dad, Skeeter, was involved with it as well. That rode Saddle Bronc in the PRCA back in the day in an NFR qualifier. So the family history, if you start going a deep dive, is really cool. And you can truly tell that he appreciates rodeo because he can give his family the life he wants through rodeo. And, I mean, last year he had $256,000 at the NFR and was a Top Gun award winner. And I talked to him recently and said, it'd be nice to add another truck, right? And he said, oh, yeah. So Zeke's just cool, and I can't wait to have those questions with him.
Yep, there it is. Let's go right into it. Here's 8 questions with Zeke Thurston.
Joined here by 3-time world champion Zeke Thurston. Quick 8 questions. Here we go, Zeke. Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? Oh, steakhouse. Any steakhouse.
Tim Hortons or Starbucks?
Tim Hortons.
Sheridan College mascot?
It was the Sheridan Generals.
Favorite thing to hunt?
Elk.
Favorite sports team?
Probably Calgary Flames.
Rodeo idol?
I got a lot of them. My biggest, probably my dad.
What would you rather have, a full tank of gas or a fully charged cell phone for life?
Full tank of gas.
Funniest traveling partner?
Oh, they're all funny. Jake and Dawson.
There we have it. Eight questions with Zeke Thurston, the 3-time world champion. Thanks for joining us, Zeke.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Zeke's just a great dude, Tracy. He'll make you laugh. I don't know how many times I've sit down with Zeke. He said something funny, but when it comes to riding broncs, guy's a technician, and when he does it right, it looks as good as anybody in the game. And
when he gets in a groove, like he did at the NFR, the times he's won, he gets in that groove, like he's just almost like a machine. And he starts winning money, winning rounds, and next thing you know, he's a world champion. I mean, there's great saddle bronc riders, especially from Canada. I mean, in the last few years at NFR. And they're all friends. I mean, all those guys get along. He gets along with everybody, but especially the Canadian guys. And it's great to see a guy like him. And he's got a good chance as any to win championship number 4, world championship number 4 in 2023.
Yeah, we really appreciate Zeke sitting down with us with 8 questions. Much more coming your way on the Shoot Bosses. We mentioned at the back end of the show, we'll sit down with 4-time world champion Tuf Cooper. We'll take a quick break here on the show. We're right back after this.
Farm life means always hoping for the best, but planning for uncertainty. You have to be ready for the next everything, the next dawn, the next season, the next harvest, the next technology, the next challenge, and the next generation. No matter what comes your way, we can help keep you ready for the next.
Welcome back into the Shoot Bosses. Tanner Barr, Tracy Rink here with you as we always are, and it's been a great start to this podcast, Tracy. We've had a lot of fun, and we just get to, provide content to people out there in the rodeo world that may not know it, other than us being able to provide it here for them.
Well, I mean, we're insiders within the PRCA. I mean,
I claim I am. But I don't know.
I've worked here 10 years. You've worked here 2+ years. But you've engulfed yourself in the rodeo like I have and have done, and then you understand the business, so you feel like an NFL insider because you know everything. You talk to these people, and between you and I both, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, we always wanted to share this with our viewers and listeners, and I felt like this is an avenue we could go. And thanks to your help and obviously Becky Hillier, our boss, I mean, it's something we needed to do, I thought, and I think it's been great.
It has been great, and it's going to lead us into another great segment, Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight. We've done cowboys, we've done cowgirls, we've done stock. How about we go into the committee and the rodeo side of things, Tracy? Our Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight is going to be the National Western Stock Show and Rodeo in Denver. They were inducted into the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame in 2008. It's one of the longest running rodeos. I think the first stage show was in 1932, and it's still one of the top 20 rodeos in pro rodeo each year that guys look forward to. Kind of kicks off the season there in January.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the NFR is barely over, and then they're rolling into January at the qualifiers and then the National Western Stock Show in Denver. And it's a great rodeo. I mean, we've been around the country at a lot of different rodeos. It'd be nice. The facility's a little older, the Coliseum, just being nice, but it's a cool rodeo. It's a really cool rodeo. It's in a big city in Denver. They love it. I mean, they go to the skiing. They get involved with the downhill skiing stuff the whole weekend. So it's just a lot of fun, and that rodeo has been like you said, been around forever. It's prestigious, it's historic, and the city of Denver really gets behind that.
They get
great,
it's a big deal.
They get great crowds there. I mean, they always have since I've been here, and I mean, I'm far before I got here. So it's cool to see. It's right up the road. You've been there, I've been there, and it's a cool rodeo to attend. And if you ever got the chance and had a reason to come to Denver in that time of year, it'd be a nice thing to stop by.
Yeah, and there's your Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight. Kind of leads us into our Did You Know segment here, Tracy. The Denver Stock Show and Rodeo, we mentioned since 1932, one of the top 20 rodeos, but there is a ton more rodeos in pro rodeo. Our last update, somewhere between that 650 to 700 range of rodeos in pro rodeo. And how about this? 44 states, 4 Canadian provinces. And, it just shows how diverse and how widespread the sport of rodeo is, whether it's big rodeos or small rodeos.
And the thing about rodeo, and you and I have said this both, is a lot in the small towns, that's their biggest event of the summer.
It is. It's their big moneymaker.
Or their biggest event of the year, for that matter. It's a fundraiser. It's everybody comes, whatever the organization's involved. I mean, it's a huge deal, and their population may triple. Like places like Crawford, Nebraska, they may triple their population of their city during their rodeo during the 4th of July. So in the big cities, obviously.
Burwell, Nebraska. Yeah. Nebraska's big rodeo.
Right.
That used to be what they said was like their 95% of their town or city income came from the rodeo, Nebraska's big rodeo.
Right, and it's because they bring all these fans, and it's like, and then as by talking to those people, it's like a family reunion too, because all these people that are from, say, Burwell, come to see their family during rodeo weekend, and there's more people. And I mean, rodeo is truly a slice of Americana. It's patriotic. I mean, there's so many great things about it. And I think it's really good for cities that get involved with rodeo and they understand the Western way of life, especially like we were just in Sioux Falls. I mean, it was so cool to see them roll out the red carpet and the American flag. And I mean, it almost brings chills to you. Like when you see that stuff, it's like, man, this is incredible.
It is. And I want to give a shout out talking about those small rodeos. I'm from Southeast Colorado, Lamar, Sand and Sage Fair and Rodeo. We appreciate them as well, all the way up to our big rodeos, like Houston, the highest paying rodeo. I think it was a little over $2 million. So we appreciate all of those rodeos. There's our Did You Know segment. On to our viewer questions. This one comes from Savannah on Facebook. And this might have been before, I guess, maybe the Cinch Playoffs, but I guess it still works nonetheless. Savannah asked us, how many contestants qualified for the Cinch Playoffs? This one, I'll answer the first half, Tracy, for the Puyallup section of it, is that was 23 of the top contestants that were in the PRCA playoff series standings, and then the one champion from the NFR Open. And if that champion was already in the top 24, then obviously they bump down and add somebody else there in that list from the NFR Open here in Colorado Springs. But then how did they move on to Sioux Falls, that event that we just covered?
Right, so in Puyallup, the top 4 at Puyallup, the finishers in each event, and then the 8 others in the standings, so it made it a 12 people, 12 contestants in each event in Sioux Falls. And then obviously at Sioux Falls, it went to the 8. They diced it down to 8, and then
out of
they went
the average, yeah.
out of the average, and then they went to the final 4, which is essentially sudden death, and 25,000 to the winner, 19,000 to second, 12,000 to third, and 6,000 to fourth. So if you got in the top 4, that's why it was such a big deal. Even if you took fourth, and I'm
was
sure
fourth? Was it 9?
No, it was 6,000.
Oh, was it 6,000?
So it was
Okay.
12 and 6,
Yeah.
but still, that's a pretty good payout. 6,000.
It's more than most rodeos.
I mean, most rodeos outside of, like you speak of, the big rodeos don't pay 6,000 to the winner. And so, I mean, everybody that got in the top 4 was going to walk away with a solid check. Obviously, guys like Mason Clements and Jesse Brown and Kate Bruno, and going down the list, 25 grand right before the season, and was just such a great deal and gets their momentum going. And like I said, I can't say enough about that event, the facilities, and hopefully it'll only get bigger and better in the future.
I think it will. I think it'll start to grow in popularity. A lot of people mention it's almost like a mini Wrangler National Finals rodeo. And, so hopefully we continue to see that grow. Tracy, that's going to lead into our next segment. A guy that kind of looks like you tracked me down in the hall earlier this week and said, hey, you're going to love this word. So I think we got to send it down to our cousin. It's Buck. He's our Pro Rodeo correspondent. Take it away, Buck, our Pro Rodeo word of the day.
I'm Buck, rodeo correspondent for the Shoot Bosses. The word for the day is barrier, as in what the ladies put up between myself and them when I try to approach them. It's also what happens in team roping and other events if you break the barrier and you get a penalty. There ain't no penalty for being Buck. Catch you on the flip side.
Horses are one of nature's greatest gifts, which is why they deserve the very best that nature has to offer.
Since we've started using hemp flavoring, our horses are calmer, more willing, more athletic.
In the daily pellet, they eat it in their feed. My horses are picky. For them to eat it says something.
The stuff's really just been lightning in the bottle.
Equine Hemp Solutions. We support your horse so you can support your lifestyle. Proud supporter of your Western Sports Association. Go to the Equine Solutions website below and use Cowboy10 and receive 10% off your order.
Welcome back into the Shoot Bosses podcast. Tanner and Tracy here with you, and we teased it off the top of the show. Tracy, we're sitting down with 4-time PRCA world champion tie-down roper Tuf Cooper, and can't wait for this interview. He's a guy that has really taken the sport of rodeo by storm in his career, and I just can't wait to sit down and chat with him about this last run here in 2023, because man, it was a wild one.
Yeah, he's had several great memories. Obviously, 4 world championships and 1 in the all-around in 17, but to get to his 15th NFR took a little bit of work. I have to be honest with you. I was putting the RIP on him after Puyallup. I thought that might have been the end. I didn't know if he had enough. I didn't know if there was enough rodeos left for him, but he pulled it out, and it's great that he can join us.
Yeah, we're now being joined by Tuf Cooper. And Tuf, we appreciate it, man. We know you got a busy schedule. The Pro Rodeo regular season just ended, and you were running ragged, so I know you want a little downtime, but we appreciate you joining us here for the Shoot Bosses, the official podcast of the PRCA.
Tanner, Tracy, what's up, guys? Thank y'all for having me. To the fans watching, thank y'all for checking it out. This is really cool, man. I love y'all setup, love y'all doing this, so really appreciate it.
Yeah, first question we got to ask for you, Tuf, is we have obviously been following the race for the top 15. That's what we do here at the PRCA, and as Pro Rodeo insiders, take us through how wild that was for you. There was a point where we were like, if Tuf wins money here, but Lucas Potter wins money in Sioux Falls. We were just playing it by ear. What's the last couple of weeks been like for you, man?
Yeah, to the fans that don't know, we're in a race to be in the top 15 in each event to qualify for the NFR, and it's a full season. There's 500 plus rodeos to choose from. In the KF Open, we get to go to up to 80 to count towards our world standings race. And, it comes down to the last day of the season, who's in the top 15. So prior to that, the last 30 days, I had a lot of rodeos left for my count, and I was getting to as many as possible. You show up at the big ones like Puyallup, and it doesn't go good, and you scratch your head, and you're like, man, you see all these guys keep winning. And thankfully, there was enough 5,000 added rodeos, 10,000 added rodeos that I could get to, 2 or 3 a day, and just start getting checks. And I was very fortunate that it came down to the last day. It came down to, basically me and Luke Potter for the race for the 15th position at Vegas, going to Vegas. And, I was fortunate enough to, hold that 15th spot out. You want you really want everyone to be able to qualify for Vegas, but that's the way it is.
What were the miles like, Tough? I mean, I know you and I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, you're going to Maine and Edmonton and everybody in Texas.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was a fun experience, especially the last 2 weeks. I think I went to about 17 rodeos the last 2 weeks, and I was everywhere, flying everywhere, going to 2 a day, borrowing people's horses. I went to Maine, never been to Maine. Pasadena, Texas. I was everywhere, and it was a great experience and I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I was going to a lot of rodeos I'd never been to. The funny thing is, I got back home and my dad was like, "Hey, you know how you rodeo the last 2 weeks of the season?" He's like, "I did that my whole career." I said, the '80s were different, though. It was an absolute blast.
Yeah. You kind of touched on it a little bit already, but what was it like going to some of these rodeos in places that you had never been? Because this is an odd experience for a guy that majority of your career you've been in the top 5, headed into the NFR.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a new challenge, and I just really tried to set back and listen to what the teaching process, and it really brought a newfound love for what I get to do. And honestly, I feel as good as I ever have now, and being able to experience the what do you call it, the final countdown. But these rodeos are great. They're rodeos that I want to go back to. You go to like Sonoma, California. This is a new San Juan in the making. It's on a private ranch. You can't buy tickets to it. It's members only. It's a really, it's an amazing event that they're putting on up there. It's going to grow into something great. It's on a bird hunting ranch, and there's helicopters flying in. The Golden State Warriors owner was there. Like, it's a cool event, and they already purchased a new Preford Arena. That thing's headed out there, so it's really cool to show up to that rodeo. I think it's the second year. It only added 5. Next year they said they're going to add 10 in an event and try to grow it into, honestly, the next San Juan, which it's looking good. I'm sure I'll see y'all guys out there. It's great. Had a barbecue in the clubhouse afterwards. So much fun. And then go to San Bernardino, Poway. The California rodeos are just great and all. Got to go up to Maine. That rodeo is really cool up there too. It's sold out. Like, there's not even standing room to watch that rodeo up there, and it has the best seafood ever up there. Some Maine lobster. You got to go just for the food. Just the camaraderie, though, being able to fly in and ride J.R. Smith's horse, or flying to Omaha and ride RJ's horse, and go to these rodeos that these people know, it's on the line for me, and to be able to step up and help out. And that's really what a really cool part about what we all get to do is be part of this amazing thing that's called the Western lifestyle.
Well, heading into the NFR, obviously now more than ever, the guy in 15th place, down in the standings, has a chance to win it all, with the average paying so high and the rounds. You've won the average in your career before, and obviously world titles.
Yes, sir.
What's the approach as you go into Vegas? You've been there so many times, there's nothing new there for you, but what's the mindset as you head into Vegas?
The mindset for me, honestly, Tracy, I'm 100 and probably 70,000 behind first right now, which, Riley Webb's leading the world standings. He's had an amazing year. I'm not saying, I'm writing off a world championship this year, but to come from 15th to first, it would be, I honestly don't know if it's possible, especially as good as, Riley's roping and Chad's up there and Haven's up there. And there's so many guys that have won so much money. So honestly, this is probably just a new approach for me. I'm just going to set some personal goals to, do my personal best out there and enjoy each moment and just stay focused on, my goals, and let God handle the details, and just really enjoy, the opportunity that I get to have out there in Vegas. I'm really looking forward to. Honestly, it's probably going to be not that stressful of a situation for me this year. I'm just going to relax and have some fun.
Tuf, we saw some, or I saw some video of you sitting at a rodeo with your daughter on your lap, and it looked like, she was having the time of the world. You said, luckily they make the hats as good as they do because she's throwing that thing around. What's that been like with you as she gets a little bit older and you finally get to really sit down and experience the sport of rodeo with your whole family?
So I have a 1-year-old daughter now. She just turned 1, actually the San Bernardino week, which was cool that I got to be home on Wednesday and then take off, that night, and experience her first birthday. And she's been on the road with me, probably 80% of the time. And it has been an absolute blessing. I don't know if I could, be away from her full time, just especially how young she is and getting to see her do things every day, which is, another thing that I really credit, this lifestyle that we get to live is it's so family oriented, and it allows me to have my daughter out on the road with me, and it's a new experience, and it's been the best experience. I absolutely love it. She makes rodeo so much fun. They don't like they always say, kids don't care what you do. So that's really helped my attitude and helped me just release, whether it's been a good or bad one, and just enjoy getting to go to these awesome places and show her this lifestyle that we get to live. And she loves it, absolutely loves it.
Sure. So what do you do between the time of now and the NFR? Do you take some time off? Obviously you got the new baby girl and your wife Tiff. What does Tuf Cooper do between now and Vegas?
So I've just been trying to catch up on my rest, and I'm spending as much quality time that I can with my and my family. I'm already back in the gym, which is, oh my goodness, taking 2 months off, kicking my butt off. So I'm just going to try to get back in shape. I want to put on some more pounds, and I'll get a good training regimen and just really focus on the NFR. I'm going to go to probably 2 events before then. Go over to Lubbock's ProRodeo and San Angelo's Fiesta, which counts for the world standings, and continue the quest next year.
Does Tuf Cooper get a vacation?
My wife was trying to talk me onto the beach, and maybe in January we can go. Maybe after the FR we can go to Hawaii, put on the roping school or something.
Well, Tuf, we really appreciate it. There it is, Tuf Cooper, Tracy, a great opportunity to sit down with him and, just hear his stories, because that's a guy that, has done so much for the sport of rodeo and really continues to do for the sport of rodeo.
Yeah, I mean, he's a name you want to see. The Cooper name's got a legacy. Obviously, Super Looper, his dad, 8 world championships. He's got 4. He's been fantastic his whole career. He had to work hard to get to the 15.
He did.
And, I mean, guys like that deserve credit. I mean, it's hard to get to where they are, and it shows you how talented these ropers are. It's not a bygone collusion that Tuf Cooper makes the NFR. He has to work just as hard as the next guy, and he did this year.
Tuf, we appreciate you. I know you lost you there for a second, but we appreciate you joining us here on the Shoot Bosses. And man, congrats! It was definitely well earned. It's well earned every year, but especially this year where you just had to absolutely, you were in a battle, a fight to get to the NFR, and you find yourself back in Las Vegas.
Oh, thank you guys so much for covering this wonderful sport that we all love. Y'all do great. Thank you for putting the stories out. Thank you for having me on here. The Shoot Boss, this is really cool. I know the fans will really enjoy what y'all's hard work. So thank you for that. Hopefully, get to talk to y'all out there in Vegas a few times.
We'll see you for some round wins.
If you're talking to us, that means you're winning rounds.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Oh, well, there it is, Tracy. Tuf Cooper. We really appreciate him, and can't wait to see him in Las Vegas and, can see what he can do. He says, it's probably not attainable to win the world, but, hey, you never know.
Yeah, guys miss. Guys get knocked out of the average. You get on a heater and win rounds. I mean, there's guys that have won 5-6 rounds. I mean, Cody Ole and guys like that. You go on a heater, and the money's there now. Then, you could win $30,000 a round and $75,000 in the average. I mean, there's a lot of improbabilities, but you could definitely make up a lot of ground. Whether it's the first would be probably a little more difficult based on the season Riley Webb has had, but anything is possible.
Count out Tuf Cooper. We appreciate it, Tuf. And that's going to wrap up another episode of the Shoot Bosses here. Tanner and Tracy will be with you guys every single week, and we'll have much more great guests coming your way as we lead up to the 65th Wrangler National Finals Rodeo presented by Teton Ridge. But until then, keep on rodeoing.